was second team all defense.
I didn't either until I was telling my dad that he played at UCCS. I was like, he hit a couple threes. I was like, I watched that man rattle off like 14 in a row in Spearfish. He's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, he played for UCCS way back in the day.
What do you think of, like, when you think of Derek White when he was at UCCS? What made him so good to you?
His length, and I think like his length of being able to like pull up. I just remember late in that game we were close. It was close. You guys were hanging in, and he just like hit that like those shots that are like, damn man, top of the key, like right to left pull up three and stuff like that, coming off a ball screen pull up, like just hitting clutch shots. I think. And his ability to score, he had 50. He had 50 in a tournament game in the first round against School of Mines. So like, he's a hooper. But I didn't expect him to do what he did because at the time I didn't understand what a high level basketball player really was to be like D1 or NBA type until we went to Weber State one year. And there was this kid there that was just built for the like professional basketball. He wasn't that great. I mean, he was a factor for him, but it was just like, damn, these guys are. That's when it really hit me. I was like standing next to some of these dudes. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys are huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a different looking individual that from that even that mid-major D1 to that pro level. You know, it's a different looking athlete. But the thing that I always say that, you know, playing against Derek White and then obviously keeping track of him, you know, when he was still in the RMAC and stuff like that, is he lived at the freaking free throw line, you know, like that dude shot. Like, he had to hit double-digit free throws in probably at least half of the games.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's being modest, you know, like that's honestly on the low end. But the other thing was he knew what he was good at, and he didn't really stray away from that. You know, like he was great at attacking off the bounce and, like you said, using his length to maybe score over the top or shoot over the top. But the spots he wanted to get to, he was going to get to them. And then it was just a matter of him, you know, making or missing the shot. I remember, like, trying to stick him. Like, I remember I guarded him, and then obviously Nick guarded him. But it didn't matter what you did, you know. Like, he was going to get to the spot he wanted to get to.
I think, dude, we need... If anyone who watches this knows Derek White or like has a connection to that, I would love just on the RMAC side of things, not for like, you know what I mean, because he's an RMAC guy and that's the only.
Dude, I was just thinking that
only RMAC guy that has ever made it to the league, so that would be cool. Just to like have him compare the league, the RMAC to D1 to like, and just go through all those progressions of where he's become. Because I told my dad before he left, I said the best thing for Derek White's career in the NBA was to get drafted by the Spurs. And
yeah, absolutely.
And he dominated the G League. Like, he really did. When he won the championship that year, he was a big name in the G League, and then finally got his chance and was consistent for the Spurs. And then that trade to Boston, like, that elevated his career, because when he was in the finals last year, he was hooping.
Oh, he's been a key guy for them for the past 2 years for sure. But he was even. How long has he been with the Celtics? Is it 3 years?
2. This is his second year.
This is his second year with the Celtics. Wow.
I'm honest. I'm pretty sure he got traded mid-season last year. Yeah, he did. It was a mid-season trade. It was like that's what happened, because he was not a part of the Celtics at the beginning of last year.
Wow.
Oh, ow! That's ow, bro. Watching someone roll their ankle That
Who did?
Gabe
I
Vincent,
had to expedite.
ouch.
Oh, did he?
When he came down, that shit touched the ground. Celtics, man, that third quarter was huge for them. They might pull away from this. But on that
11-point game with 8 minutes to go.
yep, on that
Yeah, go
note,
ahead.
we're just gonna, because I know we're gonna keep talking about this 97-83 damn, but we'll just welcome the people back to episode 15 of the Kitchen Hook podcast. The number just keeps growing
15.
and growing, dude. Pretty soon we're gonna look up and it's gonna be 20, 30, 50, like.
Bush, be honest with me. Did you think when we started doing this, you think we would even get 15 episodes in?
Yeah, I think.
You
Yeah,
did?
I think it was. I think for me it was the question. I was like, damn, can we keep it going? Like when it gets deeper, like some podcasts really die off, but I think that we just love talking about what we talk about so much, and it's not like we burn ourselves out. One episode a week is perfect. You know, it gives us chance to kind of like at the beginning of the week to give us an idea of what should we talk about, all that other stuff and whatnot. But I did personally, I did because I was gonna ride. I've got the mindset. I'm just gonna ride this out and see where it goes.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I didn't. You know, like I thought we would get to maybe 10-ish, and then it'd burn out. But like I've told, a few people this that, and it plays along with what you just said is, for one, we like talking hoops, obviously, but you're my dog, dude. Like so it's a nice excuse to like chop it up with you and just connect with you a little bit.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt. So, like, I'll play video games and stuff. Like, I don't do it as much anymore. But when I was on that tear for a little bit, that length, when all of us were out of college, people, my mom, or everyone, why do you even play video? I'm like, that's my time to like BS with the guys. Like, that's us. Mm-hmm. Instead of texting in a group chat, that's us talking. That's us like connecting still and making it seem like we're all in the same room again and whatnot. So it's a great way to just stay in touch.
It's not even about the video game.
No.
It's about, just sitting there and
just saying dumb shit.
Talking a little smack with your guys.
For real. I just wanted, last night, did you watch last night? The game?
I did not. I had workouts last night, so I wasn't able to watch.
How are workouts going before we get into that?
Beautifully, man. I feel like kids are getting better. The kids and their parents feel like they're getting better.
That's good.
I mean, that's all you can ask for.
Absolutely.
We're gonna keep grinding it out and working them hard and try and hit some shots.
Yeah. You guys went to Lincoln last week? Is that right? Or was that 2 weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah, it was the same weekend.
2 weeks ago.
It was the same weekend I was in Sioux Falls because that came out of nowhere. Clem was like, yo, you want to hang out? I'll come pick you up. I was like, yeah, sure. We'll just go hang out and spearfish. Weird, dude. He just was like, yeah, I'll drive to Sundance, pick you up and whatnot. I was like, all right. And we're driving there. He's like, hey, man, I'm going to Sioux Falls this weekend. Like, do you want to jump in and help me coach? I'm like, shit, let's do it.
Sure.
So, but now I'm going to Omaha with him this weekend. That his 13U team, bro. Oh my goodness. They're
hooping.
I told him, I was like, dude, this 13U team that you got, if you can keep with them and stay like with it, it's the team that could put Sacred Hoops West River, because it's East River, West River for Sacred Hoops in South Dakota. I was like, this is the team that can put them on the map for sure. You just got to keep working with them, keep them growing. They have talent. They have this guard they have two guards that can score, and they play well off each other. One of them is so good off the dribble, like his hesitation, he'll shoot it in your face. He's got a kid, his name's Memphis. Dude, I keep telling this kid, shoot the ball.
He was talking about this kid.
Shoot the damn ball. And he could be he doesn't even realize it. But then he's got this other kid named Drew. He's huge, but he's like so quiet. He almost looks like he wants to cry sometimes. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to make fun of him, but like,
no, I know.
He's so timid, and But he's good. Clem said he was going crazy last week, and so it's like good to see these kids finally finding their way and just playing ball. But he's got a good team.
Yeah, man, that's the fun part about working with younger cats is you get to watch them a little longer and see how much better they get, and like kind of help them formulate their game and kind of help them in those areas where, like you said, maybe a kid that he can really shoot the ball, but he doesn't even realize it. He's maybe a little hesitant on the catch. It's like, that's your time to give that kid some confidence and be like, man, you need to let that go. Let it fly, man. And it's fun to see kids grow in their game.
That's why, I pulled the kid aside after when they were done. I saw him and his dad leave, and I'm like, wait, Memphis, hold up. I'm like, dude, just because we're telling you to shoot doesn't mean like we're mad at you or anything like that. It's because we know that you could be a really good player if you just shoot the ball, dude. We're not going to get mad at you. We're telling you to shoot for a reason. And it opens up their eyes like, dang, okay, like you just kind of got to beat it like a drum over and over and over again, and then they'll finally figure it out like, oh, he won't get mad if I shoot this shot, you know? So like you said, it's just nice to see growth.
And that's like, it's not the fact that the shot goes in or not. It's the fact that was it a good shot? And that's what I'm finding out is, you know, you hear the term fool's gold when kids hit big shots or something or hit a crazy shot. It's like, man, that was a terrible shot. It just went in, you know, and that's fool's gold. But helping them understand that, you know, you shot a spot up wide open corner three, but you missed it. That's okay. Like,
I'm living.
That's part of the game.
You just got to tell your kids that you live with that. Yep. But anyways, we might as well just dive right into the series that happened last night. Nuggets-Lakers. Nuggets obviously swept them 4-0. Shocked me. I thought Nuggets in 5. I didn't think Nuggets in 4. But first trip to the NBA Finals for them. Kind of, someone said this to me yesterday. It was a bittersweet moment for like Carmelo because Jokic is number 15, won it. His first team beat his last team, so it was like a weird full circle moment type deal. So I don't know. It was just kind of I was going for the Nuggets because you know where I stand on that, but they're the best team in the NBA, man. Bino called my ass out today. He's like you can't pick a team midway through the second round. I was like, I didn't, dude. I swear I picked them like first round too. But then he pulls up a tweet where I was like, yeah, Suns are definitely the favorite to win. And I was like, damn, you caught me. You got me. So I'll admit
had received.
He did. He's like, today I got time. So shout Bino, you had time today. Threw my ass under the bus. But
respect, Bino.
The tweet was hilarious, bro. I totally contradicted myself because someone was like, the Suns beat the Nuggets to go to 8-0. I was like, with no Murray, Jokic, or Porter Jr., they weren't playing in that game. I was like, but then I'll say it. The Suns are the best team the Suns are the favorite to win. I think they'll win. But make sure you put more context into the tweet. So I like contradicted myself through the whole entire tweet. Standard Bush stuff.
That's
right there.
Tough. Yeah. You know, but hey, you're taking your lumps, you know, in the chin. So that's
I'll die on the hill that I stand on.
Absolutely.
Have to.
Absolutely. But I want to ask you so we talked a little bit over text just about some of the reasons or some of the big key guys in this series, in the Nuggets series, was Murray and Jokic. But do you think that it was their play that really led them to that sweep, or do you think because, you know, I think of a guy like Michael Porter Jr. that really showed up in this series as well?
I agree with that. No, I put down on my little notepad, I said Bruce Brown, bro. Without Bruce Brown, I don't think they, like, realistically, okay, they're good, but I think Bruce Brown was one of those pieces. Him and KCP they got this year, and it's elevated their defensive effort. And dude, Bruce Brown's a Swiss knife. You can put him on anybody, and you can trust him. You
I
can.
I was just about to say, dude, like I didn't realize his playmaking ability and how
It's
much they use
crazy.
him to create shots for other guys or just get in the paint and make things
Hmm.
happen. So ditto that on Bruce Brown because the little I did get to watch of this series, I was super impressed with what he did.
Well, it seemed like he was in double figures like every game. He when he was open, he's hitting his threes, but it's the off ball cutting that he had. He's cutting off the
Hmm.
ball, and he's like, I think the biggest thing that was for me with Bruce Brown watching him and really just watching how people have attacked the Lakers defensively is there's a lot of guards and stuff that'll get down the lane against AD and then like pump fake and get scared like kick it out. Bruce Brown didn't care if he caught that ball was going up right away, and he didn't care.
Hmm.
Like you need to do that. Like okay, he blocks your shot, whatever. He's not gonna block every shot. Just go up.
Game three, because I was watching that, I was up in Denver this weekend. Game three was Saturday or
Mm-hmm.
Friday or something.
Saturday.
Um, Saturday. Um, he came up with a few huge offensive rebounds or just tip-ins and keeping the ball
Mm-hmm.
alive and he's just active. He reminds me of a little bit more of a guard than like Isaiah Thompson, but Isaiah Thompson in the sense of he's a dude that's always around the ball. He his nose finds the ball all the time.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this real quick. So today, this thought kind of dawned on me a little bit, like just watching the Nuggets play and their role players, like Michael Porter Jr. is playing well, Aaron Gordon playing well, Bruce Brown, KCP. Does it not like? Does it not feel a little bit like the 2014 Spurs, where they got their fundamental
Mm,
big man, they got the guard that can go. I know they don't have really truly a big three, but like just the way they pass, cut when Jokic and Murray are on the court, like it's just basketball. It's beautiful basketball. It's not your traditional
mm-hmm.
space the court and shoot threes. Like they're really moving the ball around.
Yeah, I think in the sense that, like you said, um, getting that ball moving and touching it all five players.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like the NBA now is so matchup oriented that where it's a lot about find the matchup that you like and attack that matchup maybe with the isolation or maybe a certain action that you like to run. Um, that especially down the stretch that they rely on Jamal Murray and Jokic to pretty much do all of the playmaking and then shot making from other people. So, but the Spurs, I remember it was there's so many clips and compilations of their possessions where there's like 15 passes
Mm-hmm.
or like ridiculous amounts of passes. And I don't see that crazy amount of passes as much with the Nuggets, even though they do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see similarities in the way that they're kind of the teams are built.
No, yeah, I agree. What happened last night? The Nuggets came out in that third quarter and just beat the hell out of the Lakers. Outscored them by 20 and took a 5 point lead. And I was so mad at Mike Malone watching that first half of the first part of the fourth quarter without Murray on the court. I understand Jokic was out there, but it was so stagnant, and I know Jokic can go, but when he's matched up against a dude that's similar size with him, that's hard. Like I said, it's like two walruses just banging bodies. Like no one goes anywhere.
Banging chest.
And I just was once Murray came into the game, it was like, all right, they have a chance now. The spacing of the floor was different, the offense was different. It was like, all right, we can do this type deal. And that game was just nuts because when the third quarter happened and they tied it up, I told my dad, I said, regardless of what happens in this game, I know clearly in my mind the Nuggets are the best team in this series, head and shoulders above the Lakers, team wise, just because they're so consistent. They're shooting like 40+% from three, and just their defense, even though it struggles at times, they can really lock teams up. Like they can really go on stretches where they make other teams' lives hell on offense.
Mm-hmm. So I want to touch on the quote of how Mike Malone was saying. Did you see in the press conference how he said like Coach Jokic, it was kind of his call to in the fourth quarter to just basically go 2-man game on one side with Jamal Murray. And just relying on them to make the right reads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of tying this back to what we were talking about with the Spurs a little bit. Do you feel like the NBA is so just like has turned so three-point shooter, you spot ups, make threes, and these couple guys make all the plays for us? Or do you think it's kind of always been that way?
I think it's the winning teams are always like that. The teams that go far are always like that. Because I mean, us as coaches, you want the ball in the best players' hands down the stretch, because you trust them to make the right plays. Like I think of when it was the last year with KD's run in Golden State, and it was Game 6 in Houston. They were up 3-2 without KD, and it was like we got the original Warriors again with Curry, Draymond, Iggy on the floor, Clay, and I don't know who else was on. I can't remember the fourth, but that's besides.
Who would the big been? Would that be Mo States?
Maybe, or Boogie. I know Boogie was on that team, but I'm thinking there had to have been another guard. But anyway,
yeah.
They the thing that stood out to me the most is I remember with like 4 minutes left, Steve Kerr kept calling doing the same like motion with his hands, and it was just a ball screen handoff or pick and roll with Curry and Draymond. Because you knew if Curry got downhill, he's making the right read. You knew if Draymond ball faked, he's making the right read. And it was like they're living with that, with Clay being able to just spot up, find open gaps, hit him for open shots. And I just always I always think that the best teams rely on their players down the stretch. That's why I like last night. That fourth quarter from LeBron really frustrated me a lot. Like it frustrated me on the fact of he is such a good player at getting downhill and when he's aggressive, and I understand like I don't like the 38-year-old excuse, because he's still proven time and time again that he can get his and he can. And
so I didn't watch the game. Was he just deferring? What was he doing?
So the first half he came out and was 11 of 13 with 31 points. Yeah. And then the second half came out and it just was like, damn, I don't know if he looks tired, but he started I think he tried to get the other guys involved a little bit, because he knew I can't do this by myself. I'm too old for this right now. But it was just frustrating down the stretch, because it was like there's times when, like, what was it, 30 seconds left when he threw the ball. He was going to pass the ball to someone on the wing, but they tipped the ball out of bounds. But he was at the top of the key trying to attack Jokic, and then he dribbles it out to half court, and then he comes back down to the three-point line and then just passes it off. It's like, bro, he has 5 fouls. Jokic has 5 fouls. Attack him.
Oh, really?
Get downhill. Go to the rim. Skip Bayless says it every time about LeBron. He's the best driver of the basketball we've ever seen, and you can't like argue that.
He's a train, dude.
He is. 260 coming at you downhill. Like, I'm getting what do you do? But I said it on Facebook too. I was like, man, I just wish he would stop being so perimeter oriented and figure out a post game. Like, work down on the block a little bit. Like, draw some attention that way too. And it was just frustrating, because he had 31 points, 37 points going into the fourth quarter and finished with 40 and was 1 of 6 to finish that game. And it was like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, this is your time.
Exactly.
And I think, I forgot what I was. Oh, I liked your tweet. I think it was a tweet of, I think it was you, of the person poking with the stick, and
Oh,
like,
it
this
was
is
me.
LeBron to his teammates.
This was,
And it was like
yeah, I was like,
LeBron to his teammates,
LeBron's teammates
to him, and it's a dude poking with the stick.
Come on, do something. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like, you have arguably a top 5, a top 3, top whatever people want to say, whatever they want to say, but he's an all-time great. He is. And you can't knock that. And it was like, dude, do something. Come on, I'm waiting for you to do something. I'm tired of seeing you just drive it, kick out. Like, I understand you're trying to make the right basketball play, but us as fans, like, come on, I want to see you take over. I want to see you go into an MJ mode, like Kobe mode, just that killer mentality.
Yeah, you want to see 26 straight against the Pistons,
yes,
or whatever it was in 2007.
Yes, exactly. But let's talk about fourth quarters, because that's something that I had in the notes too. The fourth quarter woes for the Lakers stars versus the fourth quarters for the Nuggets stars. AD, I mean, was solid in the fourth, but LeBron was 5 of 8, 5 points per game in the fourth, 7 of 23 shooting, and 1 of 10 from 3. Like, dude, oh, it's so frustrating to see. And
I saw a bunch of stats of his 3-point shooting specifically in the fourth quarter.
And I'm not going to let Jokic off easily either, because in the fourth quarter in game 1 and 2, he was terrible. He scored 3 points in game
3
1
and 0.
and 0, yeah, and didn't make a field goal. But no one said anything.
But that was Jamal Murray time.
It was, because Jamal had 23 in game 2, 6 of 7 from the field. But Jamal Murray scored 43 fourth quarter points that series. Like, he was the guy. Like, we need him with the ball in his hands, making plays. Mm-hmm. He's the playmaker on that team.
And he was making big shots I feel like he was making big shots all series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had that first half that I can't remember what game it was, but he had that first half that was huge. Didn't he have like 30 in the first half?
Yeah, 30 in the first half of game 3. And that's really what kept them in that game, honestly.
Yeah.
AD, though.
What were you going to say about fourth quarters, though?
I just felt that's when I want to see stars take over. And, I mean, last night, Anthony Davis had 10 points, and he was 3 of 3 from the field. But game 3, he had 2 points. LeBron set 5 points in the fourth quarter on average. Jokic 6 points on average in the quarter. Really, the quarter that helped him out was game 3 when he had 15 and kind of took over that game. But it was just so frustrating last night with the Lakers. They had it in their hands at halftime. Stretch that lead to 20. Make them call timeout. Stretch that lead to 25. Make them call timeout. And now you're thinking, all right, wave the white flag. Let's just get ready. Let's send this thing back to Denver. Let's get ready for Game 5. Because we know how the playoffs, how that goes for NBA teams. Like, if it starts getting too out of hand, they'll sub in the role guys and wave the white flag, you know. And that was the biggest thing for the Lakers that was just disappointing for me on analyzing the game.
Yeah. And I think we talked a little bit about the way AD's game is now in PJ's episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like getting a lob, you know, or has a severe mismatch, he never gets deep touches or easy buckets. And I feel like with LeBron, when he's, like you're saying, deferring or he's trying to get other people involved, that's when you look to AD because he's your second star. And so where I'm going with this is a huge difference in this series was the stars for Denver were showing up, maybe, sometimes at the same time, but at different times when maybe one wasn't feeling it or one didn't have a great matchup, and they were looking to attack with the other one. But it seems to me like, to your point, in those moments where it's like, all right, our stars need to make a play, this is what we pay you for.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't making those plays in those moments.
Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm in a group chat of just Braun fans, and I was at the gym to start the game. I was at the gym to start the game, and I was working out, and I wasn't paying attention. And I'm walking home, and I see someone go, "Oh, this is 2016 Braun." I'm like, "Shit, he's going nuts. I'm about to get smacked. I'm just about to get so much thrown in my face right now." And I look on the thing, they're all going crazy. And the shit was so funny because after the game, it got so quiet. Like, I was just like,
yeah.
I was letting them go on the Twitter fingers. But I think the biggest thing that really, really pisses me off about the whole like LeBron James thing with his fans, and it's not even him as a player, it's with the fans, is the double standard that everyone has. And you saw it a lot this year. Like, he had a bad game. Oh, he's in year 30. He's 38. It's year 20. Like, what do you expect? He has a great game, and they're like, oh my God, he's year 20. He's 38. This is amazing. But the one where it says Braun has played with bad teams or has had bad teammates is the one that like grinds my gears, because that's such a terrible argument to me outside of the fact of his first run in Cleveland, and then the 2018 team in Cleveland without Kyrie, and they had George Hill as the point guard. Like, that was a 4 seed in the East. But it's just like, dude, he went to Miami. He assembled one of the best teams roster-wise in Miami, and they should have won 4 in a row. Like, realistically, they should have won 4 in a row. I don't care what people's Dwayne Wade was old, blah blah blah. No, stop. That's such a bad like excuse. And then to counter that, I'm so mad that they blew up that team from 2018 just to get Anthony Davis. Because
the Laker team?
Yes, they had Kyle Kuzma, Zubac, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Rajon Rondo, Reggie Bullock, KCP, Josh Hart, JaVale McGee, and then LeBron James. That's 10 dudes. Like, you can't tell me that is one of the best 10 rotations in the NBA. And they were second in the West to Golden State with Kevin Durant before he got hurt.
Before KD got
hurt? LeBron, because remember he hurt his groin in that Warriors matchup on Christmas.
Yeah. So one thought that came to mind was, like, they're LeBron fans. They're gonna defend him when he's getting attacked, and they're gonna obviously praise him or think he's the greatest when he's doing well.
I do the same thing with Kobe.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people sometimes with LeBron. I'm not a mega LeBron fan, but to me he's
Oh, I just can't get on that train. But I'm going to miss that one. I don't care if it's the last train to get me out of the apocalypse. I'm missing that train.
Hey, I respect that. Like you said, if Kobe's your GOAT, that is 1,000% respectable. I think that's not an uncommon one, honestly. And a lot of people say, like, I know Kobe doesn't get mentioned a lot, because it's always LeBron, MJ, but you see all of those clips of like former NBA players saying, like, why is Kobe not mentioned in that discussion? Like, that is absolutely absurd that his name is never brought up. So the fact that that's yours, I respect it 100%.
And to go off that real quick, I think it's so crazy when guys who have played against Kobe LeBron or Kobe MJ, you know, there's guys in the league like Steven, like all these dudes that have played against these guys that are like you said, why isn't Kobe involved in this conversation? But then it's like, they go on and say, "Oh, that's such a bad take," like Kobe, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, we don't know what it was like to play against that. Like that, this is our time to, let the dudes that played the game, that played at that level, talk and talk facts. You know what I mean? Like when if an NBA player has an opinion on players, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna be like, I respect that because you were in the league, you played against it and saw it.
When you step, like, this goes into a lot of these podcasts that we've done, is people don't realize how good JUCO is. People don't realize how good NAI, D2, D1 basketball is, and magnify that by 1,000 in the NBA, because it is without a doubt the best league in the world.
Exactly. It's so funny when you see, I could go out there. You're telling me I could go out there and give me 10 shots. I'm just going, bullshit. No, you're not. You know how fast that game is? Like that, when we played, that game's quick, but that is another level of fast. And you could give me the worst player in the NBA right now. If you were to rank from number 1 all the way to the bottom, the last player in the NBA is beating the average person 11-0 going to 11. 100%.
1,000%.
Even if they give them a 10-point head start.
Just YouTube Brian Scalabrine one-on-one versus an average Joe. All right? And you'll see how easy it is for those dudes to just make you look like a fool.
Yeah, when we say there's levels to the game of basketball, there are literally levels to the game of basketball. Even in the NBA, there's levels to being great and all that. So you have to be damn near psycho to be great.
Dude, that's a good segue into this Jamal Murray topic, because
Yes.
I want to hear some of your thoughts on this, because what was I going to say? If you ask me, when Jamal Murray first got to the league, you wouldn't even be considering saying, at this point, a top 5 point guard in the NBA.
No.
And I know that's your take, and I want to hear your take on that. But he's leveled up, obviously. He's gotten to that next level of being pretty good and being a guy that would probably have had a solid NBA career, to a guy that's in the conversation of, you want this point guard on your team.
No, exactly.
But I want to hear your take on this.
I just think, so I'm a big person on like winning mentality and like, what can you do? What are you going to do for me when your back is against the wall? Can I count? Are you going to be a one and done type of guy? Or are you going to be someone that's going to be around all the time? But looking at, like, I know I have these up, like looking at his stats, like you wouldn't think his career number is 17 points per game. This year, 20 points per game. Dude, did you know that Jordan Poole averaged more points per game than Jamal Murray this year? Like, and Jordan Poole, he's not even in the realm of that conversation. And
that's fair.
The thing about this, though, is you got to put into the fact that this is his first 65 games since tearing his ACL a couple years ago. So that's a big factor. But then I go to the playoff numbers, dude. Career in the playoffs, 25 points per game. This year, he's 28 points per game. And in the Western Conference Finals, it's 32.5. And the only player ever to go 50, 40, 90. And that's pretty damn hard to do, 50, 40, 90. That's elite level offensive skill. And I really sit there, and we had someone put this, it was me and PJ. Me and PJ were going on back and forth on Twitter on this, because someone was like, I don't even put Jamal Murray in the top 10. I'm like, bro, that is the worst take I've ever seen in my entire life.
Real quick, I love that you and PJ interact on Twitter now. That makes me so happy.
When it comes about it, PJ knows ball, dude. PJ understands the game in a different mind than a lot of the average Joes. But no, with Jamal, like, okay, for PGs, I'm putting Steph above him. I'm putting Dame above him. I'm putting Kyrie above him. But then who else is there that you would put above him? Someone says
I
Shea,
mean,
and I said no.
we've. I'm not on the Shea bandwagon. Yeah, I think he's super good, but I don't think he's better than Jamal Murray right now. We talked about De'Aaron Fox. He's one of those guys that I don't know if he's quite in that top 5 realm yet, but I think
Mm-hmm.
he's also a younger cat that's starting to maybe sniff that here in the next year or so.
100%. I wish I could find this tweet because this guy put some players up there, but it was just one of those things where I was really sitting there and looking at all the point guards in the NBA, and I'm thinking, Ja Morant. I'm taking Jamal Murray over Ja Morant straight up.
Hmm.
And he's just established himself as one of the best, like, just scoring guards, efficient guards in the league, and I trust him in crunch time like he did in Game 4. Game 2, he was terrible for the first 3 quarters, and I even tweeted it. I was like, Jamal Murray due for one of those games where it's like he can't find the hoop, and it
Hmm.
was like, okay, not okay. Here it is. He goes. It was Ja, Steph, Jalen Brunson. No, get him out of here. Luka, maybe. Tyrese Halliburton, no. De'Aaron Fox, we can talk about it. Trae Young, no. Damian
We
Lillard,
can talk about it.
Damian Lillard, yes. Kyrie, yes. Shea, no. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that I said yes, like straight up yes to, and then we can talk Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox as being fifth in that fifth category. Because
I'm gonna throw a name out there real quick.
throw it.
Drew Holiday.
No, I think he's top
Okay.
10. He's one of the best two-way point guards in the league. 100%.
Did you say Trae Young in that? Did you
Yes.
say Trae Young
Yeah.
in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
You think he's better than Jamal Murray or
no.
no?
No.
Okay.
The Tyrese Halliburton one, dude, that's such a reach. That
Not quite. Yeah, not quite.
that one was a reach to me, but he is on the he's top 5 for me, and De'Aaron Fox is right outside, but that's easily switchable with if it plays out. You know what I mean? Like that. This is such a rotating cast of elite point guards, because Steph and Dame are and Kyrie top 3, no doubt, 100%. You can't argue that at all. And so
I agree.
that's where I stand out with Jamal Murray.
Did you say Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, no, bye. He's
Really?
good. He's good, but not top 5. Not top 5.
So what do you like more about Jamal Murray
His
than Jalen
size.
Brunson?
He's just his size. He's able to get downhill. I mean, Jalen Brunson can still get downhill, but he's so little, dude. Like, he's a winner.
Is he really?
He is a winner. He helped lead the Knicks, and he had 38 and 40 in the last 2 games of the Heat series. But I just don't. He's not there yet. He's definitely top 10 for me. Like, I'll just list it off right now. My top 10. I got Steph
Yeah, go
1.
ahead.
Just looking at this list right here, Steph's number 1, Dame number 2, Kyrie number 3. I'm gonna put Luka at number 4, just because, like,
Thank you.
his ability to do everything that he's so good at everything he does.
See, I was gonna be concerned if you didn't put Luka in there.
No, Luka 100% is deserving of that. He's an MVP in this league very soon. And then number 5, I'm going with Jamal Murray. Number 6, De'Aaron Fox. Number 7, Ja Morant. Number 8, Jalen Brunson. 9 is Trae Young. And then I'm going to put Drew Holiday as number 10. Drew Holiday can't not be talked about as a top 10 PG in the league.
Hmm. I think just his versatility, not to go on a tangent on Drew Holiday, but his versatility defensively at the point guard spot's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's got to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
The top four, I think, are not debatable, in my opinion,
Yeah.
which are the same as your top four. The ones for me, like I mentioned, De'Aaron Fox. I think Jamal Murray is, in a sense, seeming better right now because obviously he's made it farther, and I think his team is much better, obviously. But he's coming up huge in those moments, like we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned at the start of this whole conversation was that winning mentality, and I think Jalen Brunson is that same way,
Yeah.
and I think he's got that dog in him. The one thing I think I got to see his 4.7 assists a game. How many does Jamal Murray average?
I think like 5. Could be
Let me
4,
see
but
here. Season.
that's where Stat Muse comes into.
Yeah, five, right at five, or no, 6.2. Oof.
And how many rebounds is it?
You might be convincing me here, Bush. 3.7 rebounds for Jalen Brunson, 4 rebounds for Jamal Murray. Mm. You might be right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to your stats you got here about this. Oh, that's all you had on Jamal Murray,
Yeah.
but no, that's a good point, man. I think it'll be cool to see because I think this was De'Aaron Fox's real true his first real breakout year. Obviously, he's had good years previously, but this was the year where he was getting a lot of attention and he
Yeah.
was a serious focal point in the NBA and just obviously on his team.
But does it surprise you,
Um,
like coming from Villanova and watching that last year he won the national championship where he was the guy? Doesn't surprise me at all, honestly.
who's that?
Jalen Brunson.
Oh yeah,
All those guys
yeah.
from Villanova, it really doesn't surprise me that they're having Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. It doesn't surprise me that they're having great NBA careers, dude. Like Jay Wright.
Real quick on that, I was talking with my guy Josh Murphy in the hotel in Lincoln. Shout out Josh Murphy. He follows the pod. Also, a quick shout out to Bet the Mortgage. Followed on Twitter. That's his Twitter handle. But um, he was saying that what you were just talking about the Villanova guys is they have the quality of perseverance and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of just find a way. They find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a huge testament to Jay Wright.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree 100%. I think I think the NBA is finally it's at that stage now where it's going to be pretty fun just because of what we're seeing this year. We're at the point where all these teams are fairly even. Like there was that stretch where it
Mm-hmm.
was the damn Warriors and the Cavs for 4 years, and it was like, okay, year four, that finals honestly was like, okay, we know who's gonna win, right?
I loved it, man.
It was great, but it just got. I think I missed. I loved Kyrie. I loved the one where LeBron came back the most because we saw two evenly matched teams going at it. And people always say, "Oh, like Nick Wright was the Warriors would have never won again with that against the Cavs if they wouldn't have got KD." I argue that they had them up 3-1. You can't tell me that they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't just win. They couldn't win 4 games against that team. Like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
that trio of
No,
guys versus the trio of Cavs guys was just like perfectly matched.
it was, and it was just anticipation every year of obviously, like you said, you kind of knew that they were going to meet up in the finals,
Mm-hmm.
or you had a pretty good idea of it. But that's kind of like Magic Bird, it's one of those matchups.
Yep.
Or I'm trying to think of if Kobe had a guy like that where he
Not
always met
really.
up with them.
No, because Cole played. He played Orlando and Boston his last 2 years.
Hmm.
They beat. Damn. They beat Philly. Again, they beat AI one year. Um,
Yeah,
but like he played someone new every year for his 5 rings.
yeah, it was.
We wanted what the people wanted, and what I still wish. Like I wish we could go back in time and do something to that Magic squad where it was just like, nah, you guys, this isn't. No, sorry, but y'all don't get this opportunity. Get the hell out of here. I need Kobe and LeBron to be in the finals going against each other, and that was the year that we could have had it, and that year and the next year is what we could have had, and we didn't get that chance, and
Maybe in the
that was
next
just
life we'll be
unfortunate.
able
I
to see
hope so.
that.
Goddamn, I hope so. Real
That would
quick,
be
I
awesome.
want to ask you something. So going back to how Jamal Murray played 65 games real fast. I know this is going to be way off of what we planned on talking about, but I've had this written down for a long time.
Shoot it, dude.
I figured out the shortened season model, like the perfect shortened season model. And it's
Okay.
based off of 2020, 2021 when we brought back, when we were starting to bring back basketball and we had to play that shorter season.
Mhm.
You play 72 games, okay? Games start on Christmas. You have like a big opening day, like big time Christmas games for opening day. Season ends mid-May. Playoffs are April through July. That way we can get back like basketball. There's that weird stretch where there's nothing going on, and it's kind of July would be so
Mhm.
great to have. And then you keep the 65 game minimum for the NBA awards because on average that's what you're seeing these guys play around 60 to 65
Mhm.
games. So you're telling them, hey, you can only miss 7 games if you want to have a chance for the awards. Now, granted, I think
Mhm.
injury. No, like if you get hurt, sorry, but you can't. Like, no, you have to play 65 games. I think to really fill that average. Or if you're like,
Yeah.
or like if an injury comes into play, like 50 games or something like that. But it has to be one of those where it's a confirmed you're missing games because of an injury, not because you're resting.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
just because I'm so tired of seeing all these teams rest teams, like people always talk about, like Kate, like for example,
My.
an Eastern Conference team coming over to play Denver for one time out of the year, and the Stars sit out. It's like, bro, some of these
Mhm.
kids from Denver or around this area want to see those guys play, pay all this money, and you sit out for rest. You're not hurt, you
And
know.
this, just quick on that, the sucky part is you never really know a lot of times until right before the game or the day of the game. And so, yeah, it's like I already got my tickets. I'm going to the game anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
now these dudes aren't playing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here's my first question. Did you just sit down and think this out or what?
Yeah, I was bored at work. I was bored at work. I'm like, dude, someone was saying like shorten the season. I'm like, man, I swear to God, we just had a shorter season. And I was like thinking, I'm like, man, I was in Texas in July watching the NBA Finals. Hold up now, and when we were in Texas, you were in Texas too, the same time for that recruiting trip. We were all recruiting down there, and I'm like, bro, we were going to the bar after that and watching the finals, and I'm thinking, basketball in July is just so. It's what we need. It's longer, it's better, and you're taking away from that boring ass like October through
Where it's just
November where it's
baseball.
just bleh too. But yeah, like baseball. But there'd be so much more hype around the league if games started on Christmas Day. Like if you had a finals rematch along with other big name teams playing that day for like an opening day for the NBA.
Yeah. No, I think, um, for one, I'm impressed that you came up with all that. And two, I 100% agree that 82 games is too much.
It's too much.
Um, and not even for the sense of the players, although that is certainly a factor, it's just it gets monotonous after a while. And there's obviously the hype at the start of the year, because the NBA is picking back up, but really a big chunk until All-Star break, there's just not, it's just like, okay, it's another NBA game. It's
Mm-hmm.
another NBA game.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the All-Star break, like the season's so short after All-Star weekend, that's when it really picks up again of who's in the playoff hunt, who are these teams jockeying for position. And I think there would be a shorter lull period in the NBA with a shorter season,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have more excitement year round, I think.
10 games isn't a lot, but doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot. Like there's no room for having a slump. If you have a slump with 72 games, like that's not good with just how good the league is. But that was I needed,
especially with how many tight
yeah.
races there are now.
But I just needed to. I've been wanting to say this for so long, but I just kept forgetting to look at this little note section that I had.
No, dude, I appreciated that little tidbit. That was
It's
a nice
insightful.
tangent that we had.
Insightful. Now let's move over to the Heat and Celtics. Obviously, the Celtics won tonight, tied it up 3-1. Been kind of a. I'll be honest with you, like really shocking that it was 3-0. I figured I knew the Heat would put a fight, but dude, I wasn't thinking like going into Boston and stealing two the way they did type series. And
no, go ahead. Sorry.
it just shows like we've said this multiple times. It seems like, but the Heat culture. And I have it right here. Heat culture. I was sitting there watching Game 3, and they kept showing Pat Riley, and I'm like, damn, dude, it starts with him and Alonzo Mourning. Who do you always see at every single Heat game sitting next to each other? Pat Riley and Alonzo Mourning. And it starts with them, like two dudes that have been in the Heat organization for a long time, won a championship as a coach player with D Wade and Shaq and all them. Really kind of started the culture of the Heat. And then you got a guy like Udonis Haslem still on the bench that was in the middle of playing during all those things, like the dad on the team that's keeping his kids in line.
Yeah, he really is. He's like the just the grumpy coach or the grumpy dad that's like, hey,
exactly,
this is how we do it.
But it's just a perfect mix of dudes that are gonna hold you accountable. Pat Riley played for Adolph Rupp in Kentucky. Like that was a premier basketball coach back in the day. Like he ran the college world for a while outside of John Wooden. And so he has all these standards and stuff within the Heat that body fat, you've heard that you can't be over a certain amount of weight. You have to be doing this. You're on a diet. No snacks, stuff like that. And then you have Jimmy Butler, who I saw. I think Clem reposted a thing on it with Jimmy Butler where he was like, "Man, when I was in Chicago, like we had dudes on the team yelling at each other, like holding you accountable. Like you had Joakim Noah screaming at Derrick Rose, telling him to play some damn defense." And then they're coming down like, come on, let's get a bucket here type thing. So he was like, he said, so it's like some of these guys, like I don't know how they I got to remember sometimes everyone reacts a little bit different because that was a brand of basketball that was like we held each other accountable after everything. And so he's really, like I said on that, the last of his kind. Truly.
I want to just shift real quick because you talked about how many of those Heat guys are still there. Pat Riley, Alonzo Mourning, Udonis Haslem, and obviously Eric Spoelstra's in that mix too. In like the culture of basketball today and just athletics in general of hop and ship, you don't see a lot of people staying in one place really at any level for their whole career anymore, where that used to be such a common thing. Where the Heat, they obviously have found that longevity within the people they keep around. Do you think that's the source of their success, or do you think it's because that their players and their coaches are getting it done on the floor?
No, it's a source of their success.
Mm,
Trying to think of Duke, man. Like realistically, think of Duke. Think of North Carolina. Um, like guys that have on there like if you know how impossible it is to get a job at Duke or North Carolina, like 99% impossible, because you have to be a part of the so-called brotherhood or family that have been in the program. Like you're not just going to be some Joe Schmo coming off and getting a job there, because they have their values, their culture, and all that stuff in place. Like Coach K constantly hiring former players. Like look who's succeeding him: John Shire, dude that he played for before, or that played for him. Roy Williams always has Sean May on his bench. Had Jackie Manuel on his bench. Hubert Davis was on the bench. He played in North Carolina. Now he's coaching. Like that's where you get those same values and beliefs all the way down for that long of a period of time. It's just bound to be successful, because it's like the Patriot way. If you don't buy in, you're gone. You're easily displaceable. I'll bring the next guy in who wants to play and do what we do. You know?
It's just interesting to me that the Heat, I think to your point, it's got to be a big source of their success, because you look at their roster and it doesn't really jump out at you.
No.
You know, it doesn't strike you as a roster that is super intimidating or scary. Like, you know, if you're a coach going into the game, if I'm looking at Boston's roster, or maybe I'm I don't know, just any coach in the NBA, especially the role players. Obviously, they have a couple good stars and a couple good veterans. But the role guys, I'm like, okay, we can handle Gabe Vincent. We can handle Cody. Is it Cody or
It's
is
Cody.
it Cody Martin that's on
Or
the Heat?
Caleb
Yeah.
Martin. Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin's on the Heat. But these guys that are their role players that are ending up being keys in some of their success, they don't strike me as guys that I wouldn't be a super worried coach if I'm
No.
an NBA coach being like, okay, I'm going up against this team. So to your point, it has to be, for one, some of the players that like the Jimmy Butlers and the Bam Adebayos that they have on the floor, but those values that they've carried on since they've won those championships.
And let's not hide the fact that K Love is out there still doing his thing for him too. Like that's such a
He was that veteran I was talking about.
Him and Kyle Lowry are the two vets on the team
Yeah.
that like, both have won a championship, so they know what it takes to get to that point. Kyle Lowry beat one of the best Golden State Warriors teams ever assembled. Even though KD was hurt, like that's still like, come on, you're still beating a Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and Iggy on that team. But like you said, dude, I just Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Caleb Martin. What? How is Caleb Martin averaging 19 points per game, shooting 63% and 48 from three? Like, dude, it's just they put so much trust into those guys that it's like, hey, you know what? I don't care if you were undrafted. You better do this. You better come out and play. You better be ready to go, because we expect greatness out of you, night in and night out. You know,
starring in their role.
Exactly.
That's what that is.
Kids, if you're a role player, if you're not the guy, watch the Miami Heat. Watch Max Strus, watch Duncan Robinson, all these guys move without the ball, fill their role, do their job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is so important if you want to be. Kids, I think, get so mixed in. Like, man, I want to be a good team, but I want to be the guy. Like, be real with yourself. Like I always say, not everyone can be the guy. Just do, like you said, excel in your role. Be great in. If the coach wants you to get rebounds and defend, be great in that. I watched the clip it was yesterday on Matt Barnes talking about Kobe Bryant, and he said, he's like, I knew me and Kobe had like a relationship and respect back from when I was at UCLA because he would come in and work out there. And he's like, I knew if I wanted to get to that level, I had to guard guys like that. So I knew I needed to buy in on the defensive level. And what was Matt Barnes in the NBA for his whole entire career is a defensive guy. He knew what he needed to do, and he was like, man, I'll sacrifice scoring and be great at this. So you got to understand, like, that's what the biggest thing is just talking to your coach at a young age. Hey, coach, where do you see me at? What do you see me being for this team right here? And that helps people out. So that'll help you out so much.
Well, and I tell guys, you can't help us if you're not on the floor. And like you said, not everybody can be the leading scorer. Not everybody can be the guy that's making all the plays. But there are also 4 other guys out there on the floor that have to do their job. Mm-hmm. And if you're a guy that chooses to do your job and do it well, maybe your role will expand and you'll see yourself on the floor more or making more plays or whatever it might be, whatever your goals are. Yep. But I think to your point, it's some of the kids that they try and force a bigger role because that's what they want at the moment, and they end up playing themselves off the floor instead of on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, look at who we talked about at the beginning of this episode, Derek White. Was Derek White known as like a prominent defender in Division I basketball? And, like really Division II? No, not really. He was more of a scorer type guy. And now he's defensive second team player in the NBA. He's a 3-and-D guy. He excels in his role. He doesn't do what we watched him do where he can just isolate someone and score. No, he hits the open shot and he D's up.
Yeah. And thing about him too is he can make some plays for others. Like he's not necessarily the guy that's going to fill it up all the time scoring wise, but he really makes good reads and he's got that good length to be able to make some plays for other guys. But on that point is how his game evolved and how his roles evolved wherever he went, whether it was from UCCS to CU and CU into the NBA, he had to adjust. The great ones adjust, as they say.
Going to the Boston side of things, man, like I know I told you I wanted to talk about Joe Mazzulla and like Tatum and Brown. I think what really irritated me the most and what made me want to talk about Joe Mazzulla was watching Game 3 and how pathetic they were when they came out and played. Like, there was just no energy. It's like they already lost the series. And there was one point in the third quarter of that game where it was like an 8-point lead, and the next thing you know, it's like 24 points. And he didn't call a timeout the whole entire time. I'm like, bro, what? And like I told you, I did not know this. Joe Mazzulla was on that team that made it to the Final Four for Bob Huggins, which was like the last name. Once I realized, I was like, damn, okay, now I know who that is. Like, I remember that guy, watching him play. But I don't.
Yeah, after you told me that, I recognized him more.
I don't think he's ready for this type of job in this moment yet. I think he's still slightly.
But
go ahead.
You said it in the text message to me. He's a pretty green coach in the NBA. He just got this job after Ime Udoka made his exit. And he's already. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me go like what you said about that, like being a fairly new coach in this. In 2011 he was undrafted. So he went into coaching, right? He went to Glenville State as an assistant from 2011 to 2013. Then he was at Fairmont State as an assistant from 2013 to 2016. And then he spent a year with the Maine Red Claws, a G League team, as an assistant. And then he was the head coach at Fairmont State after that year from 17 to 19. And they were good. Like they reached In his second season, Missoula led the team to a 22-9 record and an appearance in the NCAA Division II tournament, and they lost to Mercyhurst by 3 in overtime. And then he spent 3 years as an assistant in Boston, and then he got the head coaching job. And I just feel like he was coaching at the D2, and I get it, like, if you're a good coach, you're a good coach. But jumping from the D2 level and only having 3 years of experience in the NBA, like that to me seems, and then you're getting a head coaching job, that to me seems like a huge jump. And something that Brad Stevens, who's the director of all this stuff, is like, that's my guy, I want him, blah, blah, blah. I just, watching the way he acts in the media, the one-word answers, not talking to the media a whole lot. I just think he's slightly immature. Like, personally, it looked like he lost the locker room a little bit.
Mm.
And
he might be letting the lights get to him a little bit.
I think so.
Pressure and that scrutiny might be getting to him. Who knows?
But all of the blame cannot go on him, because when you're humbly the best basketball player in the world.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
What goes off and goes in game one doesn't even take a field goal attempt and shoots 6. It has 6 points all from the free throw line, and then is 0 for 3 in the next game, all from 3-point land, and had 5 points all from the free throw line, and then didn't even play in the fourth in game 3. Like, bro, if you're Jason Tatum and you're expected to get a $314 million contract extension, that is unacceptable. To have 14 points in Game 3, and Jaylen Brown the same way. Jaylen Brown has been playing like terrible this series, 17 points per game and 10% from 3, and he's a $280 million contract extension type player.
He only had 16 tonight.
Right at his average. What'd he shoot?
7 of 16, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line.
He's struggling, and he's such a good player, but he is struggling right now. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I can't put all the blame on Joe Mazzulla. Like, I have to put a lot of blame too on these two guys, because that's the star of the teams. But that is the most awkward duo it's like superstar duo in the NBA. Just two dudes that I feel like don't understand. All right, is it my turn or is it your turn? Is it your turn or is it my turn? Like, they don't. It seems like there's such an awkward feel from them.
Well, I think a few things. They've gone from Brad Stevens, who they started their career in Boston with,
true,
to was there one in between him and Ime Udoka, or was Ime Udoka right afterwards?
No, there's another one. I gotta look at this.
There was?
There was, because
I think it was Ime.
No, it was Ime. No, you're right. It was Ime Udoka, I think, because if they fired Joe Mazzulla this year, it was their fourth coach, and it would be their fourth new coach in 4 years.
Yeah. So that's kind of my point in one of them. Yeah, it was Brad Stevens and Ime Udoka. But they've had 3 different head coaches, and I'm sure things haven't changed a ton. But, when you change systems, even if it's the same players and stuff, there's some adjustment there. And so obviously they're on a first-year coach system now. 2, I got to get back to what I was thinking about. Hold on. You talked about Joe Mazzulla and making the jump from D2 to NBA. You hear a lot of times NBA players maybe talking after they lose a series or something is they made better adjustments than us. Their adjustments that they made from Game 5 to Game 6, that's, it ended up getting us in this game. And you hear that a lot from players and coaches, that might be what's coming into play with what you were talking about, is he's struggling with because the Heat are making adjustments.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And he basically, what I'm saying is he might be one step behind Eric Spoelstra, or a couple steps behind Eric Spoelstra.
100%. The one thing I do got to say about Jason Tatum that's really annoying too is how much he settles for 3-point shots. Like early on in his career, you saw Jason Tatum getting to the rack and getting by someone and pulling up from 15 and really establishing like similar games like Devin Booker, Kobe Bryant, Jimmy Butler, of guys that are killers in the mid-range game, stuff, DeMar DeRozan, stuff like those guys. And then in this series, it just seems like he's deflected from that because, one, he complains to the officials way too much, so he just doesn't even want to go into the lane. It seems like, but it's like, dude, like you are in this level, you put yourself on this pedestal, so you need to be able to be aggressive, and you have to show up in the fourth quarter. It's like my thing with Bron. And a little bit and with like Jokic and AD, like you have to show up in the fourth quarter if you're that caliber of a player. I can't be fourth quarter time's winning time, so I'm going to have the ball in the star player's hand. I can't be counting on Grant Williams and Marcus Smart to take me home. And those are good guys that help keep you in the game, but that's not their job.
And Jason Tatum, I saw a tweet. I think it was Dorian Alui coached him at Minot State for the year I was up there. Shout out Dorian if he listens. I don't know if he does. But he was talking about how elite NBA players, especially elite scorers, they need that mid-range game. That separates an elite scorer from just maybe a good scorer. But I think that's true because I'm going to go off tangent a little bit here, but the whole layups and threes thing, how that whole philosophy is all the rage in basketball. I completely see it. I completely see through 3/4 of the game trying to work for the best shot possible. But like you said, in winning time, when defense is locking down at the highest level and the space is this much for each shot you're getting, and you're working to just even get the ball to the spots you want to, you have to have guys that are shot makers, and that's from anywhere on the floor, not just layups and threes.
Yep. The game is about a bucket.
Absolutely. Uncle Drew once said, the game will always be about buckets. And I think that's spot on with what you were saying, Bush, of these guys that, like the Kobe's and the, these killers that you think about in the playoffs and just in crunch time. They're getting their buckets in what by any means necessary, and that's got to be Jason Tatum. To me, like Jaylen Brown can be that, but to me, he's more of an attacker and really attack that rim and hit open shots. But Jason Tatum is the guy on that team that's the certified, or should be the certified bucket getter.
I want to look for something. I'm trying to think what game it was, but a game just popped in the. God damn it, Lakers versus Lakers will never happen, but. All right.
Only on 2K.
Game 6, Phoenix Suns versus Los Angeles Lakers in 2010. Go if you're listening to this podcast and you want to know what we're talking about on guys that the game is about a bucket. Go watch that fourth quarter. Watch Kobe Bryant in that fourth quarter. I'm just already. He had layups. He hit a couple threes. He hit the pump fake, dribble, fade away with two people on him, and then slaps Alvin Gentry on the ass as like a hey man, you can't guard me, and then does the playing thing down the court. Like that is what we were talking about. Like in winning time, I need your guys to be able to do, like if you're gonna put yourself on this pedestal, you have to do that kind of stuff. You have to be able to do what Jamal Murray did in Game 2 and just go win the game by making shots. So but
that's at the NBA level. You know what I mean? Like as you go up in levels, you get more and more that way. And so, especially when you're at the highest level of basketball, that's why all the good teams have those assassins and those killers. Jimmy Butler, Jokic and Jamal Murray. The Celtics seem to be looking for one.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be looking for that closer. That's why in baseball, the only pitcher that they have a walkout song for is the closer, and that's only if you're a bad dude.
Thinking of old boy from the Nets with that trumpet song right now. Do you know what
the Nets?
Or the Mets. From the Mets?
The Mets, yeah.
Yeah, whoever that was. But
I can't remember his name. I know
that's the coldest thing I've seen in a minute for like walkout songs. But I'm gonna start doing a thing where I make a prediction on whatever we're talking about. My prediction for the Celtics though is Jason or Jaylen Brown will not be on the Boston Celtics next year.
I agree with that.
And I think that he will be on the Golden State Warriors. I do. Yes, I do. And you know who you give up for that?
Wow.
You know who you give up for that?
Clip it.
Oh, I will clip
Klay
it.
Thompson.
No, you keep Klay Thompson.
Jordan Poole.
And Andrew Wiggins. You get rid of those two. I love Wiggs, man. I love Wiggs.
Huge.
I love Wiggs, but I think Jaylen Brown at this point in his career is way better, and it'd help out the Celtics. Like this is a win. That would be a win-win trade. Give the Warriors get rid of Wiggins, Poole, some draft picks, and they get like Malcolm Brogdon and Jaylen Brown. Fair trade-off.
I don't know. You think Malcolm Brogdon, he not to go off on this tangent, he hasn't been what I thought he was going to be for the Celtics.
No, not at all. I don't think he fits in with. I don't think he really fits in a whole lot with that. So that's my. I'll clip that, and I'll put that one out. But that's my prediction. Jaylen Brown to the Warriors next year. And if that's the case,
that's a good prediction.
Max even said this. So then the Warriors did that. You got Brook Lopez is a free agent. Warriors go after Brook Lopez because then he can space the court out. And then Karis LeVert. Go get Karis LeVert as a guy coming off the bench for like Klay Thompson. Because if you watch them this year, like they didn't have that guy off the bench in the playoffs that could just go get a bucket. Jordan Poole's just too much 110 miles an hour.
Well, and the playmaker too, because like I think about those early Warriors teams, and it was like Sean Livingston that would come in, and he would get things going, and Leandro Barbosa.
Bro, Sean Livingston, I swear to God, dude, he would shoot that like 10-foot shot. That spin shot or whatever. I swear, I've never seen him miss. I've never seen him miss that shot. He's got to shoot like 85% from doing that. Someone needs to find a stat on that because that stuff was crazy.
Just money. I think that prediction is a good prediction to end on right there.
Yep. I know we wanted to talk about officials, but I'll save that for after Omaha when I get super pissed off at these AAU officials. Bro,
blow off some steam.
Just real quick, and I'm gonna bring it up again next week. But Jesus, dude, me and Clem were in this game, and these two guys weren't even making it past the free throw line on the other end, and they're calling fouls from that far away. Like one dude counted an NBA continuation bucket, and I didn't think they counted it at first. And then next thing you know, he's at the line shooting an and one, and I'm like, whoa, you're gonna let him shoot that? I was like, this isn't even in the NBA. He goes, hey man, sometimes we miss calls, and I'm like, you're the one that called it, so you're telling me you missed the call? And so I pissed them off because I heard them talking about me at halftime, and then Clem, this guy doesn't even make it, like barely is like a good 5 feet behind half court still. Calls a out of bounds and points direction. Clem goes, so you can really make a call from that far? Your eyes that good? He's like, the ref looks at him and goes, hey man, you're enough from you. And if I would have been more quick-witted at the time and didn't care, I would have been like, oh, so you're going to give us a tech for calling you out for not doing your job right? Come on, bro.
You would have got teed up for that.
Oh, same.
It's all right, Bush. I got told by a ref that he wouldn't talk to me anymore because I didn't know anything. So I feel your pain.
Just
man.
talk to me, like. So I had to help first game there.
He wouldn't even look at me after that. He was like, I remember I went and asked him a question. I called a timeout and I went and asked him something. And he answered my question looking straight forward like this.
What?
And I just said, as I was walking away, I was like, this dude won't even look at me. And I just walked away.
I had a hell of a weekend in Sioux Falls because the very first, Clem had to go coach a team, and I had to finish the second half for this team. A side note, Eric Glenn's kid is a hooper from Mines.
Eric Glenn?
Coach Glenn.
Oh,
his
really?
kid is his coach's kid for sure, plays like Manu Ginobili, straight up. But he's driving in and gets tripped and pushed to the ground, and we kept the ball, right? And I just looked at I hadn't said a word all game because I don't know these kids on the team really. I'm just trying to be a coach and try and do my thing. And I just looked at there's 5 minutes left of the game. I've said nothing to them for 15 minutes. I look at the guy, I was like, hey man, sir, watch the push. And it's this short little ass 5'5" official, and he goes, how about you just coach and you let me ref? And I'm like, whoa, I've said one word to you all game. I'm just saying watch the push.
Yeah.
He blows his whistle and says beep, warning, white team. I'm like, you're joking, right? I haven't said one word to you, and you're getting that self-conscious about me talking to you. I was like, come on, man. And I didn't get teed up, but then his partner comes down, and I go, dude, you're gonna he can't just I've said nothing to you guys. I've been nothing but respectful to you, and you're gonna let him do that? And he's like, hey man, I'll be honest with you, no one even wants to ref with this guy this weekend, so I just let it go. I was like, hey, fair. If you're gonna say that, I'll respect it.
There's a ref like that in every tournament that the other refs will be like, oh my gosh, I'm with this guy.
Bro, just
yeah, man. I've never been told I didn't know anything about basketball, but it humbled me real quick.
Damn. I was like, damn. Oh man, I've yet to catch a tee this year.
I know.
I've only
I
caught some mornings.
and I'm itching to get one, to be honest with you. Not
lie,
that I want to get one, but
it feels good.
I kind of want to just see what it feels like, see what it tastes like.
I'll be honest with you, man. It's like your first kiss. It's amazing. It really is.
It's exhilarating.
It really is. Coaches that want to be I'm not saying go out and get techs all the time, but if you've never caught a tech before and you have your chance to do it, just go ahead and let it out. What's going to happen?
If you coach long enough, there will be a tee you get on purpose. And I feel like that's gonna be my first tee. I'm gonna get teed up for my first time, and it's gonna be because I meant to get teed up.
No, 100%. Because you're just gonna keep. You know what to say, and he's gonna be like, stop, no more, and you're gonna say that one smart ass thing, and it's like you blow the whistle, and you're like, yeah, thanks, man. I know you were gonna do that.
Yeah.
But back,
I was waiting for it.
When you said that humbled you real quick, you want to know who humbled me the most as an assistant coach in the RMAC was Warren, the tall black ref. He, God damn it, we were at Metro. Me and Bino were pissed, dude, just pissed. And I said something to him. I'm like, come on, man, that is not right. And he turns around and he goes, "You're nothing to me. You are absolutely nothing to me." And I just looked at him. I was like, damn. Okay, shit. Damn. Ben looked at me. He's like, I've never felt so humiliated in my entire life. I was like, bro, I know. He came out our soul like that.
Did he have to give you a pat on the back after that? Hey, man, it's all right.
Nah, the next
you mean something to...
The next time I saw him, I was like, hey, man, you won't hear nothing from me. I know how you feel. He's like, I gotta be a hard ass during the game, man. I like you guys. You're good people. I'm like, I'm just giving you a hard time, right? Because you know how they see you at all the games, like you're a familiar face. So, but that's all I got. I'm done ranting about officials. I'll rant more next week because that.
Yeah, we can talk more about that next week for sure. I know you got more on your mind.
More on NBA officials is what I want to rant about.
I know it.
God, hour 30. Guys, thanks for staying with us for this. I know all you people who do listen, I'm looking at analytics and stuff at this. Like, our average view time is growing every time. I know we're starting to get more and more people logging in. Like, our numbers are starting to go up a little bit more. So, I think that clip we shared.
Keep listening.
I think that clip we shared of like telling people to keep commenting or stuff like that, like just like it or stuff because it'll help get it out. But shout out John Grace for that retweet, showing the love and support.
Mm-hmm.
We love that.
I saw that.
But other than that, you know the usual. It's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm serious. If you want to be a guest, slide in the DMs. We are open for it. If you can talk hoops, let's do it. Because it's just another group of people we can get this podcast out to. So
we love guests, man. We love guests.
Oh, absolutely. Because we get to talk about the journey, about their journey, and why all that stuff.
Grace us with your presence, somebody. And this can be women's basketball players, women's coaches. It can be anybody.
Yeah.
It can be men. We can
absolutely.
We can branch out.
I was talking to one girl who used to play the women's game. I'm like, yo, just come on the game, or just come on the podcast. Like, you're knowledgeable. You played high level basketball, what you did. So just like you can like talk about what you felt like was different in D2, what girls need to work on, stuff like that. Because the women's game is underlooked. And there are some hoopers out there. There really are.
Yes, indeed.
But
anyway, we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope y'all are doing. Yep. Hope y'all do great. Peace.
Kitchen Hook. Peace.